In my previous video, I talked about how it is better to write notes and other text documents in plain text. I also mentioned that you can use Markdown to add bullet points, format text, like turning text into bold or italic and things like that. Basically to make your text file more readable. Now, Markdown is not a program. It's not a programming language. It's just syntax that you can use in plain text in an agreed upon way so that other people reading your document or even programs that use Markdown can understand what you mean. And at the end of the day, Markdown really is just plain text. It's really simple, as we will see. Okay, so let's get started. So let's say I have this Markdown document. And by the way, you can use any program that will let you edit plain text. Let's turn this into a heading. So what you would do is add a pound symbol or a number sign or a hash symbol. All right. So this becomes heading 1. All right. Let's remove this. Heading 1. All right. If you add 2 number signs, this becomes heading 2. This becomes heading number 3. And you can, in this way, you can nest your document or layer it however you want. Now let's do paragraphs. So this is a paragraph, if I can spell paragraph. And if you leave 1 line and 2 lines, this is also a paragraph. Now, with programs like Word, what would happen is the first line gets indented, which is something that you do not want to do in Markdown. Markdown is simply just leave a line, and then the second line will become a paragraph. So what we are trying to strive for here using Markdown is to make things as simple as possible, but at the same time, make it legible. Now let's take a look at formatting text. So let's say if you want to show something that is in italic. All right, so what you would do is surround the word or words with asterisk. All right, and make sure you don't leave space between the words. So this italic. Now, if you want to add more words to it, just add more words inside the 2 asterisks. All right. Now let's say if you want to indicate something is bold. So this text, sorry for the grammatical error. This text is bold. All right, so you add 2, sorry, not 1, but 2 asterisks around it. So this will indicate 2. 1 indicates this is in italic. This 2 indicate the text between is bold. Now let's say if you want to indicate something is both bold and in italic. So this is both bold and italic. I think you may have guessed already. So surround the text with 3 stars. Let's say if you want to turn this into a code. Sorry, not code, quote. Quote is a block quote. So just put a greater than symbol in the beginning of the text, and this becomes a block code. If you want to add nested codes, so a quote within a code, what you would do is just add 2. Now let's take a look at lists. So, you know what? Let's turn this into a heading. So, heading number 2, lists. Okay, so list is easy. So you can use either a hyphen. This is a list item. Or you can also use the star symbol. This is also an item. Now, I personally tend to use hyphen because it's just one key, just the hyphen key. With the asterisk, you have to use shift and the number 8, so I tend to prefer this, except in the case where if you have to use a hyphen within the list item, then it's better to use star. So if I'm using it for personal, for my personal notes, I would choose to use hyphen. But if I'm sending a document to someone, I tend to prefer using the asterisk, because it looks much a bit more professional. Let's say if you want to say this is a secret word and then definition of the secret word, right? It just looks neater this way. Now that's for unordered lists. If you want to have ordered lists, that's easy. Just one, first item, second item, and you can have sub items as well. So nested lists. So let's say under 2 we have bullet points. So sub item A, item B, and let's say for third, sorry about that. So third item on the list, we have another numbered list. So item 1, sub item 2. Okay, so those are lists. Indicating something is a sub list, you just have to indent those lines and it becomes a sub list. Also, you may be tempted to use parentheses like so, but this is not conventional Markdown. So I would recommend not using this, but instead use this. Also, my recommendation is to tend not to mix up your list. Let's say, for example, you are using asterisk, and then suddenly don't start using hyphens and then stars again. Stick to one. So either use hyphens or asterisk. Now let's say you want to draw a horizontal line. So what you can do is use 3 dashes or hyphens. This text is below the horizontal line. Please do keep in mind to leave a line above and below the horizontal line. So this indicates that there's a horizontal line. By the way, the colors are changing because this application understands Markdown. So that is why. So as you can see here, this text is bold now. So I just saved the file in with .md. Now .md indicates this is a Markdown file. So this application actually understands Markdown and is highlighting the syntax accordingly. So now you can convert this Markdown file into a PDF, and this is what it looks like in PDF. So as you can see, there's a horizontal line above this line and below this line. Next, let's say if you want to indicate something is code. Let's say if you are a programmer and you want to indicate in your Markdown file that something is a code. So with that, you'll be using the backtick. This is code. And as you can see, the color changed. So this application understands code as well. And this is not code. Say if you want to do multiple lines of code, you can do 3 ticks. So 1, 2, 3. All of this is code. And then end with 3 ticks again. So let's see what this will look like in a PDF. So as you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see the difference, but this text looks different from this text. This is just a regular text, and this, remember, we encapsulated in backticks, and so is this. So next, let's take a look at links. So this is a link. This will become the text of the link, and let's link it to YouTube. All right. So as you can see, this indicates that this will link to youtube.com. Let's click that. And there you go. It works. Now let's do a bit of combination of things. So remember how we turned regular text into bold? We can actually do that here. So 1, 2 at the beginning, and then 2 at the end. So as you can see, the whole thing turns to bold. And sorry, let's refresh the PDF. And then as you can see, this text turned into bold. So not only can we insert links, but we can also insert images. Put an exclamation mark and then some text to describe the image. This is a Markdown image. This becomes the text describing the image. Next, we need to provide the location of the image files. You can use a relative path or you can use an absolute path. So I have the image file in the same folder as this Markdown text. All right. So as you can see, the text has changed here. Now let's take a look at what it will actually look like. Take a look here. This is the image. All right. And as you can see, the text that describes the image, this is a Markdown image, which is what we wrote in the Markdown file. But that's not all. What we can also do now is link the image to a web page. So surround the whole thing with open brackets, and then just like how you would do with a regular link, like here, instead of writing some text, you can even put an image. Now what we can do is let's link it to YouTube again, or you know what, let's link it to my YouTube channel. All right, so I'm going to save that and convert the file. Okay, so now this image is a link to my YouTube channel. So that's how you insert links into Markdown. As you can see, this is just all plain text, right? But with simple syntax, we can add more features to a simple looking text document. The only thing that I do use to extend my Markdown document is use tables. And yes, you can add tables. You can add HTML to the Markdown file. However, I think that instead of simplifying something, it actually complicates things. It's much more difficult to read HTML when compared to simple Markdown. But also, I want my document to be read by not only people who understand Markdown, but also people who have never looked at Markdown. Let's indicate that this is tables. So we're working on tables, so let's put a heading called tables, and this is how you do it. So pipe, the pipe symbol indicates the edges of columns. All right, so this is heading 1, and then pipe again, heading 2. Now, to indicate this line is a heading, what we need to do is 1, 2, 3, right, and then put pipe again, put pipe again. So this indicates that the top row are headings, and then so this is row 1, col 1. This is row 1, column 2, column 1. Now what you can do is make this a little more legible, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. I just want you to see what the tables actually look like. So as you can see, this is the heading, and these two rows are the body of the table. As I previously mentioned, you can use any text application to work with Markdown files. However, there are a few things that I do recommend. One is Visual Code, and it has native Markdown support. The other program is Qown Notes. It's available on all Linux distributions and also on Windows and on Mac. The other program that is a relatively new program. It's been around for a while, but it's still, compared to all other programs out there, this is fairly new. So Obsidian is something that specifically works with Markdown, and it's available on iOS, Android, on Mac, Linux, and Windows as well. So this is one which is really truly multi-platform. Other programs like Visual Studio, I know it's a code editor, but you can also work with Markdown files if you are not a coder. And Qown Notes is it's also a good program. It's open source, and it has tons of features, but can be a little bit daunting because it has so many features. Obsidian is, I think, a good balance. It has, as I said, it's available on multiple platforms, and it has a lot more other features as well. Now, what I use is Vim or NeoVim, but I don't recommend this program to anyone who hasn't really used Vim before, because it has a very, very steep learning curve. If you are a Linux admin or if you are a coder, I think you owe it to yourself to at least check out Vim. So anyway, you can use plain text without Markdown syntax, but I think using Markdown really just elevates your note taking. And also, using Markdown frees you from subscribing to other note-taking services, and also you own your data. You can store it on your computer as well. Thanks for watching, and if you do like this video, consider subscribing and share it with people who might find this useful. All right, peace.